welcome back to my lovely IHP community and the 5D Collective and all of those who have been tuning in. Today we get to hone in on self-empowered people and mystics. So we are aware of true love as we are aware of being our whole self, just so we can begin. So true love is unconditional because whether you're a 5D mystic or a mindfully living, loving person, you own that feminine. Okay, so I also embody the feminine energetic imprint of my oversoul. You'll know if you're masculine or feminine of your oversoul, and that's not something that others will define for you. You will notice that we have a lot of different voices, spokespeople with different pieces of information. The best way I'm gonna be able to break it down to you is this: the feminine is an inner and outer nurturer. She knows how to transmute from the emotional plane, first of all, the heart, and then also how to use the mind. Empowered feminines are not tested by their masculines because empowered feminines are the ones who will tap into immediately the infinite potential of our masculines. And any masculine out there, distorted feminines are in fact, for an empowered feminine, a masculine. So you'll be able to note if you're, again, an inner and outer nurture, or if you're masculine, the energetic imprint takes a different route. Mind, and then heart. Okay, and so it's from here, once they're online though, with the two sides of the brain, that we have an empowered masculine, and it's once they in fact have their own feminine. So the feminine is how you're gonna get connected not only to that 5D state of consciousness and the frequency and the pure consciousness that we talk about, but that's your whole self. Okay, so I'm gonna read to you a little bit, but unconditional love is part of the journey for those of us who are safe havens and secure bases. So you are a healthy self-worth person, and that's why you're empowered. And we don't hold on to resentment, and we don't hold on to shame, anger, any of that. We work with all the emotions. So we have all emotions come up. But again, the emotions that come up are not projected. And they are, in fact, something that we moderate as we consistently in our day-to-day put mindfulness into practice. Mindfulness and or spirituality. It's a life of meaning and connection beyond the soul self. Mindfulness practices are what you use to integrate the brain and to be aware of yourself. And this is once you can work with all the emotions that come up. Okay, so let me begin. When you are a person or mystic who is able and choosing to put into practice mindfulness daily, you are aware of yourself, the personality traits and the patterns of you, your temperament, the ego, your nervous system, the self, and the parts, all the aspects that participate in your day-to-day life events, activities, and relationships. With a window of welcome to your whole self and your thoughts and emotions, you know how to self-soothe your nervous system, and or this is something straightforward. There's a lot of free content out there that informs people of this. I took a bunch of courses and still am, so that I can keep up to date with my information as I support through mentorship, personal development, self-help. So the masterclass that is in the works, again, email me if you want to be put on the sign-up list. And in the future, our spirituality retreats and workshops will involve, as always, our embodied brain, because we're an embodied brain, first of all, and our whole self. So the whole self. Okay, so you know how to self-soothe in healthy ways. You are also a person who has healthy self-worth, and you're able and wanting to self-regulate out of the threat response to your social engagement response. Not all people want this, as we've been talking about. So this is thanks, this capacity and this desire, to you being a securely attached person and or mystic, or working with a therapist to get earned secure attachment, and then also adding mindfulness practices alongside your trauma healing journey. We work mindfulness practitioners, Reiki practitioners, also any of that which involves, for example, the family constellations. I told you I'm adding that one here. A life coach. We work with a good therapist because that's how we empower. Empowering humanity is important, and also neuroscience, neurobiology. I mean, there's just so many different topics that it would be ridiculous. In fact, I find it very ridiculous as well as offensive when I meet the shamans and tarot readers and any in mindfulness practices. Oh, don't go to therapy, come to me. No. Or anybody who's from sciences who's like, yoga's bad, mindfulness is bad. Again, not really. You don't know about sensory motor, somatics. You probably don't know about Stephen Porges, or maybe you don't believe in the sciences from that. So, again, So you're healing with a good therapist and adding mindfulness, or you're good and you're doing mindfulness practices because you're a whole self, and that's why self-empowerment works with the inner growth mindset. It is in moments of self-awareness through mindfulness practices that self-empowered people and mystics are set free from experiencing thoughts, emotions, personality, and what life has sent that day as something fixed, rigid, or hard to deal with mentally, emotionally, and physically. The softness and inner growth dialogue, alongside self-soothing with compassion and kind intention, thanks to mindfully, spiritually live and love. Okay, so you're living and loving this way. It allows for expansion of consciousness to take place, for that life moment to be felt with ease from within, thanks to the social engagement system activated and not the threat response. The person or mystic using mindfulness to deal with the situation at hand finds themselves growing and harmonizing from the experience. So you'll notice a difference when you're putting it into practice, because again, you have chosen that you want to be non-reactive. Some people don't want this, as I am trying to help you understand. Some people call it laundry, like that Zen master, the emotions. So the depth of your emotional plane will be experienced to whatever depth you want. But if you're not capable, that's why the therapists are some groups that we work with, because it's I don't believe you're not capable, but there is a window of tolerance that needs to be worked with. And if a person has still child parts and all this stuff, so that is why it's important to share the psych education alongside when I'm giving you food for thought and channel guidance, and just in general also personal development, because not all people know about these topics. Okay, so person who's being mindfully aware, again, and spiritually aware in their life, they will notice how this practice and these practices of awareness makes it easy for them, for you to be yourself, but also for you to stand up for yourself. So this is in all of your relationships, but you stand up for yourself in conversation in a way that is non-reactive. You're welcoming of differences, and this is why it does not create splinters or ruptures or unnecessary friction. Now, if you have a person who is not working with that, we're going to talk about that maybe in another episode, but you won't be somebody who's going to be reactive. It's like, am I not decent enough to be saluted? The stories I've shared with you all, I don't do reactive, I do Maria. And the reason is because the threat response is only needed for when I'm in a physical threat, which I don't want to be in. As a 4'9" woman, I don't put myself, I do my best to not put myself in situations where I would be at physical risk with other human beings. And anytime I've had people who do get in their threat response, I am non-reactive in my safe haven secure base. They can think I'm afraid. I don't really give a shit. In the meantime, I know that I'm not afraid, because I know when fear comes up with my panic attacks and anxiety and other things. So I know when my nervous system is getting agitated. Furthermore, actually, we can get really, really excited and have a type of window tolerance that goes overboard. I'll never forget that time when it happened. But let me finish up so we can move forward with our conversations. The restorative embodiment, self-aware, accountable, and regulating person or mystic notices a difference in how they're now able to move beyond any situation brought forth from the day's unfolding with ease, thanks to mindfulness, living, and loving practices and lifestyle choices. They also notice the benefits to their relationships, their work environment, career, leadership opportunities, and entrepreneurial endeavors. And this is because your mind, your emotions, and your physical energetic levels stay on a high and in a clear state of ease, thanks to using your social engagement system instead of the threat system of modulated or dysregulated embodiment. Okay, so being yourself, again, mindfully or spiritually, isn't for everyone, because there are not all people who want to achieve emotional, mental, and physical intelligence states. There are those, like that fancy lady who says, how dare they tell us? No, she doesn't do it that way. She just tells you to be reactive, basically. And that non-reactivity is not true, that it's enlightenment or healthy. And she is not even in any of... She's not a person who has any qualifications at all. The man that I make fun of, and there's a bunch of them too, they don't have enough qualifications either, because if they did, they would not be doing what they're doing. Let me actually put that one to side and just conclude. Being you, being mindful, being flawed with integrity. That's what it means to be self-empowered, which is why when we have any of lovers, we know that we are owning our own sense of self. They're owning their own sense of self. I'm a tree and you're a tree, okay? So I'm going to present with an open heart a conversation and more. I'm going to not have a narrative. I'm not going to shame you, blame you, fault you, or revenge you. I'm gonna allow myself to be that which is a healthy adult, and that's a secure attachment couple. So when it comes to love, love is one of the most easiest of things to do for self-empowered people. Okay, so we don't have this thing of they broke my heart and now I can't trust anybody. So again, here's a feminine, and I'm going to use that lovely rabbi for a minute because he gives you a definition that I can attest to in very different ways. So he first starts with the fact that masculines, they are near infinite in the potential of life that they can hold. But nothing comes from that until the masculine is captured, contained, given limitation, and nurtured. Okay, and then there's only one feminine element. Okay, so that's one equation. Now, the one feminine element is the nurturer, and nurturer is what it means for me as a feminine myself, but also as a person who understands being the body. Okay, so I can be Maria's safe haven, secure base, even when I'm having panic attacks. They were all awful, but they happened, and now I get to explain. I also already knew what was happening, because when your light body is expanding, you will know it if you're a mystic, the 5D mystic path, not the 4D. 4D, I have gathered, they're not going anywhere, nor are 3D. So once again, this is not bad. This is where God gave us free will. There's options. Or Robert Sapolsky's science says we don't have any free will. So however you want to take it, this person right here, I know that it's your will. If you want to get your whole self and get a window welcome, you are going to do it. But I also know there's plenty of people who don't want it. And that's their choice. I'm not going to impose that you get access of who you are. But again, so the feminine, the true feminine doesn't capture you. She wants you to connect to your own capacity to be a part of that which we're all a part of. Source, consciousness, God, universe, Holy Spirit, dark matter, dark energy. And if I need to spell it out to in human terms, it's called secondary consciousness. So I want you to be your own self-agent. Then I want you to know about bonding and certainty. Those are three basic motivators that we all have, and they are involved in each and every one of our temperaments and personalities, some more, some less. So when you look at people who have a challenge with mindfulness practices, it is because of their temperament and their personality traits, which they can look and figure out based on a lot of different sources. I have one, Dr. Daniel Siegel's PHP. Recently, I got the book. I have all of his other course material, and it's similar to this Enneagram thing. And so while some people think it's the same, it's not. It's not the same, because anytime somebody thinks something is exactly the same, they're disregarding the minute differences. And in this case, with PHP, we're looking at, let me go find my notes, or Dr. Daniel Siegel was. Again, I have to still read the book, but looking at something that involves more of that information of the nervous system that the Enneagram I don't believe had. I haven't looked into it because I'm not interested in the Enneagram. I have been learning about trauma and attachment from different sources. Dr. Daniel Siegel is one of them at Mindsight Institute. So personality, he says, is a filter through which our temperament deals with as one nervous system body being here on Earth. And in awareness, you become aware of who you really are. And it is not the personality patterns, but you do work with it. Okay, so this is, again, Dr. Daniel Siegel. You can quote him. And from one of my courses with him again. So with that, going back to, we all have personality, which is what makes it amazing. You all have temperament, and again, makes it amazing. And when you're a master, though, of yourself, that's when it gets to be fun. So I'm an eternal child, you're an eternal child, and bringing it to that whole 3-year-old heart. And I've welcomed all of Maria, her personality, her temperament, her traits, and that's why I have integrity, I have unconditional love, and then I'm presenting you to me and me to you, and there you go. It's a me and you thing. It's a we. It's differentiated selves with emotional, mental, and physical depth and intelligence and capacity to be independent. It's because my 1-year-old, she's securely attached, you see? So I don't need you to teach me to regulate. I don't need you to make me feel safe. because I'm my own safe haven, secure base. This is what it means to be your own feminine, in a way of humanly speaking, from the somatic therapist to the good therapist. Okay, so all your child parts asleep, and you know how to regulate in your social engagement system. This means you can feel unconditional love for all people. You're a somatic empath. This is why there's not a straight line. It's a choice. I was born with me being able to keep my child alive, and I'm very happy. And I am, again, that feminine. So when I've met masculines in general, I will know of their potential. Today, I understand exactly how, if I look to the past, these things worked. So when I think of, for example, that teenage boyfriend, I totally could envision us and him and all of it. And that is because of being able to perceive the entirety of that masculine, but they need to capture their own feminine. Otherwise, I'm the motivator. No, that's not how it works. And that's why an empowered person, again, knows love is unconditional. It's unconditional in the sense that I'm not going to tell you that your personality traits or your behavior or mannerisms are something I want to change. That makes me think of Greece. No. So with the teenage boyfriend, nothing of him needed to change. We could have kept moving forward because I don't deny Maria to be Maria, and I don't deny you to be you. That's what self-empowerment is, and that's why love. You don't have it taken away. It's not hard because inside me, I'm not going to be ashamed because you say something to me. So when, even in the future, one of my relationships as we're breaking up, I thought you would change. I wasn't like, oh my God, you hurt my feelings. No, I was like, huh? I'm confused. Excuse me? I thought you heard me when I told you I don't change. And when I was told you should change, I'm like, yeah, no, that I just told you I want to be accepted for who I am. Maybe you didn't hear me well. So again, it's not hard for us to love when we have welcomed all of our parts. And I didn't even look at Maria as parts today. I bring to a language because I am attachment trauma informed, and I know how important it is to share that language, because just saying be yourself, people, why would I be myself? Now I know how not to do anything when somebody says, why would I be myself? Because I got a person who doesn't know that they just told me that they feel defective and something's wrong with them. And now I know we need Patrick Tiahan because they don't want to be their self. They don't know how to love themselves or Terry Real. Okay, so empowered people, we live mindfully. We like to live spiritually too when it comes to God. Again, knowing that a person who doesn't go to therapy is not going to be their true self. That's where God didn't make you unkind. No, your trauma does. And then you not taking care to become aware and accountable and regulate your capacity or incapacity to notice that you're applying your assumptions, your subjective experience, your all of it in your little reactive pissy pant mode, whoever it is, whatever the side is, as long as you're an unbridled self-expression human being, I'm going to know, and I won't waste my time with you. You're a masculine that doesn't tap into anything of what life could be. You don't want to, perhaps, and that's exactly why we still have, in my book, that free will. It's just not Lucifer. It's some people will choose the threat response, and they're going to continue doing like the fancy man and woman in suit, and some of us won't. And we're going to talk about things, and then we're going to be there with people who are healing trauma. So it's healthy adults who heal trauma and are living mindfully and spiritually without having to say everybody has to be in their social engagement system. Nope, not everybody does. That laundry man, the Zen master, he doesn't know how to be in it, and he still thinks he's a Zen master. So this is the part of why I feel God always, thank you, benevolent. And when he did say, hey, mind your own business, it wasn't in a way of, I'm going to punish you, Maria. No, I went to God. I said, hey, God, so I did the catechism thing, and I don't see evil. I see suffering, and then I see cowards, and then I see the men in cloaks that are doing shit, and the women in cloaks. And I'm pretty sure we're not in the medieval times anymore. So I'm going to say they're protecting ways that are horrible, physically, mentally, all of it. They're completely, I don't even know what to say anymore. And I'm adding, because my conversation was very clear, is I don't see evil, I don't see Lucifer, but I know what to do if I ever meet him, and I didn't, and now I know of Patrick McNamara, neuroscientist, and about brain and nervous system stuff. So anybody who doesn't know kindness, it's not a mean person in the sense of they're a Lucifer, no. It's like that man in a suit. They're all people who could use a therapist. They don't want it. They actually think that we're going wrong. Yeah, go figure, right? Okay, so unconditional love is the way of our mammalian heritage. Our social engagement system works because we are more humans around, and we still have, of course, our safety behavior of the threat response, social, no, what is it called? The survival mode. So, no, we don't need safety behaviors with each other. Our brain evolved to keep us protected. And so, from who? From the animals. Then people turned on each other, and that's why we're now working to get over the trauma stuff. Some of us, not all of us. Okay, so let's bring humanity together on this end of the spectrum. Human love, come, come. All you need is love. Dun, dun, dun. All you need is love, love. Love is all you need. And there's nothing you can't do that can't be done. There's nothing that you can't sing that can't be sung, nor you can't be that you're not meant to be. I completely effeminate. This is exactly why nobody tests anybody. The only ones who get tested are the 4D mystics because they have non-secure attachment stuff going on, and that means they're 1 year old. They are looking for a person, one human being, and that's why they got this whole thing. Like their entire world revolves around one human being. Can you hear? Or one word, even just one thing. I'm like, wow. I mean, don't you want to be who you are here to be 3 year olds? So they get so distracted from their own self. Anyways, side note, side note. So long story short, when you're a person who enjoys, again, I want you to be happy. So the one or the ones and or human beings who are presented as potentials, we're not testing each other. We will either match, and that's because we tickle each other's fancy, mentally, emotionally, and physically. If you're not a match, you're not a match. And if you are a match, you're a match. And nobody's going to struggle for it. And no, there's no stages. Not for the smart ones of us. The other ones, again, they get busy with stories. So their stages, they enjoy them. And we leave it to those people to do that. In the meantime, welcome aboard. Come on back if you enjoy self-empowerment, mystic chit-chat, mindfulness, living and loving. We might have some other episodes. I have some more to tell you on that feminine front. So I'm going to think about it. But in the meantime, thanks for stopping by. Like, share, and subscribe. And if you know anybody who does enjoy to be their true self and to live mindfully and spiritually, send them our way. Thanks again.